Very slim chance of some showers and storms across the north on Thursday. High temperatures in the low to mid 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by OG&E Weatherization Program for Arkansas customers with homes at least 10 years old. Call 1-800-272-9741 for details or log on at OGE.com.
Radio station.
KERX, Paris Fort Smith, from the Bush and Bushlight Studios. This is ESPN 95.3.
Touchdown!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts, we're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
HitThatLine.com.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac! Hold on, Matt Ryan! D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown!
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like
wide
it?
open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
You know, as we get set for Saturday's Arkansas-Kentucky matchup, 6:30, you can hear it right here on ESPN Arkansas affiliates. You wonder sometimes if it even feels like the Razorbacks and the Wildcats are in the same league in football. Now, I'm not talking about the same league as being in the same echelon, as competing at the same level. I'm talking about league, you know, like a group of teams that compete against each other every year. And honestly, the SEC doesn't necessarily feel like a league in that case in a lot of ways. Sure, you've got the top echelon, you got the middle, you got the bottom, but they're all the same league, the same conference, really, when it comes down to it. And I know there are a lot of other conferences or leagues where all the teams don't play each other. I mean, just look at the way the NFL does things. And in football, you're going to always be dealing with a smaller schedule, the fewer amount of games. So you're never going to be you're not going to be in a situation where you play everybody, especially when you're in a league that is as large as the SEC is, which is now 14 teams. Of course, it's not quite as unwieldy as the ACC, nor is it ever going to get to that level. But it just got me thinking a little bit because Phil Elson here, Ty Richardson back at the ESPN Arkansas studios. It's funny. I was reading the. I was reading the teleconference, not the teleconference, but Mark Stoops met with the Kentucky media on Monday, and he was talking about how these schools really don't know each other at all when it comes to football. I mean, the last time that Arkansas and Kentucky met on the gridiron, the head coaches were Joker Phillips and John L. Smith.
Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that's amazing? That's a lifetime ago in football. 2012, here it is, 7 years later. 7 years in college football it's not even just a lifetime. Sometimes it's 2 lifetimes. That's 3 coaches ago for Arkansas. And, Joker Phillips was fired after that 2-10 season, which was, partially Arkansas's fault. The Hogs decimated Kentucky 49-7. And Mark Stoops was hired the next year and rebuilt them into a 10-win program. Going to be difficult for them to get to 10 wins. But it's just odd because in a league that basketball teams play everybody plays each other in basketball. Mm-hmm. In baseball, 10 weeks of competition. You play everybody at least every other year in the other division. But in football, you get these ridiculously long periods between East Division and West Division teams that aren't the typical crossover that you face every year. So it's just, I mean, it really doesn't feel like Arkansas and Kentucky are playing a conference game this weekend. It's just got I'm not saying it feels like a non-conference games, but it's two programs that just are not familiar with each other at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the different sports, you divvy out what baseball does, the fact that you play an out-of-division opponent at least every other year. For football, it's the 6-1-1 format. So you have your cross-division opponent that you play every single year. It used to be South Carolina for Arkansas, now it's Missouri. So you have that. And then you go the rotation, where you play a team on the road or a team at home based on when you played them last. So last time Arkansas faced off against the Wildcats, they beat them at home, if I remember that correctly. So it's just a weird format, and there's certain schools, Phil, that want out of this type of scheduling. If you really want to think of a prime example, it's Tennessee. Tennessee fans want out of the cigar game against Alabama because Alabama's won every single game in that series since 2007. Now, I don't remember Tennessee fans chirping when Fulmer was high and tie when they were beating football teams pretty good, and Tennessee was one of the premier programs in college football. But it's just a turn of the tide. Sometimes you get matched up against one. But for Arkansas, Phil, it's Missouri. There's no reason they shouldn't win that series, at least most of the time, except they haven't been good against the Tigers at all. Arkansas really not benefited, but they're not having to play a Florida every year or a Georgia. They got a lucky draw in a sense, and yet they haven't been able to capitalize on their permanent Eastern opponent.
Well, and maybe it's a little bit of the long end of the spectrum with this 7-year difference between meetings of the Wildcats and the Razorbacks. But you look at some of the other teams that you could play in the East Division. Arkansas last faced South Carolina 2017. There was a 4-year period between matchups of those programs. The Hogs in Florida waited 3 years, 2013 to 2016. A 4-year period between the Georgia Bulldogs and Arkansas Razorbacks matching up 2010 to 2014, and also 4 years between playing Tennessee. Of course, Tennessee used to be the crossover opponent. And hey, again, I understand the whole thought that in football there's just fewer games. And in the SEC you play 8 conference games. That doesn't really look like the conference is interested at all at adding a 9th conference game. But I don't know. To me, like if you're going to have a league, then teams should play each other, like every other year or every 2 years at least, because to me, leagues are partially about familiarity, about having some sense of a connection to the team across the field. I mean, even look at the slogan that the SEC is using on one of these commercials that they air during the football games on Saturday on ESPN and on the SEC network, but it's the idea of togetherness, that these are 14 like-minded schools in athletics, certainly, and in some ways academically. But if you're going to have each other's back, I think they call it a family. I think that's what the advertisement pushes, the idea that the SEC is a family. So, I mean, how often do you go 7 years between seeing family? There are probably some family members of mine that I haven't seen in 7 years. So maybe we're not family anymore. I don't know. To me, I don't know. I saw Andy Staples wrote about this. I think there's a couple other people that have had the idea of mixing the schedule up to more of a pod system and doing away with the divisions, which doesn't mean you can't have a conference championship game because the Big 12 does it. I know that Staples pointed out that it started with a Division II league. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference held a championship game that they had to petition the NCAA about in the late 1980s, and they don't have divisions either. So you don't have to have divisions to have a championship game, which, that's what the SEC wants. They got to have the championship game for monetary reasons, I think, more than anything else.
The biggest money money maker of any conference championship game in college football, Phil.
Yeah, it's the one that all the others are built upon. But if you move out of divisions and you have, I think what Staples called it was like a pod system, you end up with 3 permanent opponents, and then the other teams that are left in the SEC, you would play each of them on an even or odd year basis.
Correct.
So where 1 year, and I saw one of the instances, and I guess this would make sense if Arkansas's permanent opponents would be Mizzou, Ole Miss, A&M. I think some people would like to see LSU on the list rather than Missouri, But, this thing with Mizzou isn't going away. This whole battle line rivalry thing isn't going to go away. And then maybe you play Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Vandy 1 year, and Bama, Auburn, Kentucky, LSU, Tennessee the next year. I'm sure there are reasons why you don't do this, but they don't come to mind at the top of they don't come to the top of my mind yet.
Yeah, and that was a good idea from the guys and gals over at SB Nation, and they have all of them listed out, not just Arkansas's permanent opponents and their odd and even, but everyone in the SEC. I thought it was interesting, but there's always drawbacks, there's always cons to every single new idea. We just might not have found them yet.
Halftime brought to you by our friends at Breeden RV in Van Buren. They're having their year-end clearance sale right now. There are great deals on new RVs, travel trailers that start at $99.95, fifth wheels that start under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that offers new customers maintenance for life for free. Plus a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. That's Breeden RV in Van Buren. You can go to BreedenRVs.com for more information. Big show today on a Wednesday, which is Beer and Pizza Day, according to Ty's hashtag holiday calendar. Clay Henry from Hogs Illustrated and Whole Hog Sports later on in this hour, and Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio in hour number 2. We'll come back with more conversation after this on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Shooters shoot. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
It's just amazing that when Eric Musselman is in front of the media or in front of the fans, and now we got to see what he's like, see him in that coach's role, to see how vocal he was, to see how detail-oriented he seemed to be with just the small things, like, for instance, calling a timeout because his team wasn't lined up correctly on the free throw line. I mean, that's the type of thing that you like to see if you're a Razorback basketball fan.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Metal Direct offers high-quality prefabricated metal buildings, metal roofing, custom trim shops, carports, and more. They strive to be a company where contractors as well as do-it-yourselfers are welcome. Metal Direct assists you in calculating the materials needed to complete your project, all at a rate you can afford. Stop by their location at 7420 Inmar Drive in Little Rock, 1 block off University behind Napa Auto Parts, or call them at 501-562-3112. Metal Direct, the right material for the right price.
Make-A-Wake Boat Sales and Service is not only where you can get your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat, they also carry a huge selection of bait and tackle. Find whatever floats your boat at Make-A-Wake Bait and Tackle. They carry tons of top brand lines of rods and reels and everything you need to gear up your tackle box, from Strike King, Kitech, and Zoom to Sunline and War Eagle products. Make finding your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat an easy catch with Make-A-Wake Boat Sales and Service in Van Buren, 4806 Alma Highway in Van Buren, and MakeAwakeBoats.com.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One has a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
I'm Lisa Hinton, owner of Champ Hinton Enterprises. For nearly 50 years, the Champ Hinton name has stood for one thing: selling quality cars in a different way, taking the mumbo jumbo out of the process and making customers happy. All these years and tens of thousands of cars later, we're still here, doing business the way Champ Hinton taught us, selling to generations of families who've become part of our family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, the area's premier used car dealer. Take the Arcoma exit off I-540 or go online at champhinton.com.
Looking to upgrade your fleet or needing professional service to your existing fleet? Carco International of Fort Smith offers the latest trucks and equipment in the industry. With over 70 years in the trucking and equipment business, they have the experience to keep you on the road. Carco International offers professional service after the sale. Carco International Parts Department supplies all makes, parts, and gives expert service. Carco International is the answer. Leave it to the pros to keep you on the road. Carco International, located at 2721 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith.
Want to do something scary? Really scary? It's Magic Screams at Magic Springs, the scare capital of Arkansas. 3 haunted attractions, including the new Carnival #9 in 3D. Ride wicked thrill rides in the dark. Plus, fun for kids means family fun by day, fright by night. September 28th through November 3rd. Park opens at noon. Magic Screams at Magic Springs, the scare capital of Arkansas. Buy discount tickets online for big savings.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
The backside, Wilson. Good block by Piero Small. The ball is caught. Touchdown, Kobe Hamilton, who saves his best days for games in Little Rock.
Back here on ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson, halftime on a Wednesday. Get with us. It's the Cherokee Casino Hotline, and it's open for you at 877-377-6963. Good for a call or a text. How do you like SEC football scheduling? That's what we got into in a moment. Some interesting things that I'd looked up, and you'd also picked up in this, Ty. I see it on the rundown. The Texas A&M and Georgia are going to meet for the first time as SEC members on November the 23rd. When was the year A&M joined the conference? Was that 2012?
Well, they were, I think, accepted in 2012, and then they started playing in 2013, if I remember that. I know the first year they were playing the SEC because Arkansas transitioned from – well, no, I say that. I'm a liar. They played in College Station in 2012, so it was 2012, not 2013. My bad.
Right, okay. So it's 6 years from joining the league to finally playing against one of the top teams in the SEC. I don't know, maybe A&M's happy about that, but, you know, the chickens came home to roost with their schedule this year. The last time those schools played was the 2009 Independence Bowl. 5 years since Missouri and Texas A&M played. Alabama, with their dismantling of South Carolina a couple of weeks ago, that was the first time in 9 years that the Crimson Tide and the Gamecocks met up on the football field. And, of course, Nick Saban wasn't too happy being reminded about what had happened 9 years prior with the loss in Columbia. LSU and Georgia went 5 years. LSU went 6 years between games against Tennessee. I mean, a lot of this doesn't really make any sense. Arkansas has played Texas Christian, Colorado State, and Texas Tech twice in the time that since they last played against Kentucky. And look, it's not like you expect Arkansas Kentucky to be like some big-time series, but it is an SEC game. And to me, the fact that it's an SEC game means that it should happen more than once every 6 years or more than once every 4 years. And I think there are some other coaches out there, Ty, that agree with this.
Well, Nick Saban's been on the beginning of the line when it comes to trying to play a 9-game schedule, but like so many other coaches, fans, and then obviously the SEC commissioner and so many constituents behind him, they like it how it is. And it's worked. Like, they're making money off the league, doing it, whatever, but it's almost like the authenticity of the league itself is being questioned when you don't play Kentucky for a long period of time. I mean, since 2012, that's quite a long period of time. A&M just facing off against Georgia for the first time since the Aggies joined the conference. That's odd to me. And I think that's odd to a lot of other people. And it's not just Saban. Dan Mullen came out last week and talked about how he wished the league schedules would be changed up a little more. I know that Gus Malzahn has talked about moving the Georgia game, the Deep South's oldest rivalry. I mean, there's certain coaches that want different things. They're not going to have a universal thought when it comes to changing schedules. You're just not going to get that same line of thinking from all the SEC coaches. But I think some things can be switched around a little bit because, like, for some, I think one of the cool parts about going to college, Phil, is playing in every opposing conference venue, right? Wouldn't that be something if you stayed 4 years? That's something outside of winning an SEC championship and national title. I haven't visited every SEC venue, but I want to. I would think as a college football player or a college basketball player or a college baseball player, you would want to visit every single SEC venue. Now,
or at least play against every other team in the league that you signed up to play in.
Even slicing it down to that, yeah. So in baseball, you get to. In basketball, I'm pretty sure you get to. So in football is really the lone survivor of the three major sports that you don't get that opportunity, which I think is just kind of a bummer. And I think that it's not priority number one when it comes to this argument, Phil, but I think it definitely ties into it a little bit.
You know what the SEC feels like to me in this, and I think the ACC is the same idea. It's like the setup now for Major League Baseball, where you play everybody in your league, but you play the other league a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like you have two separate leagues in the SEC that are masquerading as divisions. And you get in Major League Baseball, the Mets play the Yankees every year. The Dodgers and the Angels play every year. The Pirates and the Indians every year. The Royals and the Cardinals, because these are natural rivalries. That's the whole point of the permanent crossover team that you play in SEC football. And then you get one other game that rotates on whatever basis the scheduler feels. This feels like how Major League Baseball does it, with interleague play and a permanent cross-league rival, and you play everybody else in your league once. So, yeah, I mean, the SEC West and the SEC East, to me, they're like different leagues, and you end up with a championship game at the end of it to decide who's the SEC champion. To me, it's an odd setup. And this is something I want to ask Bill King later on, and I almost feel like I know Bill's answer. You know, I don't like seeing the SEC teams play against FCS opponents. Bill was okay with it. I think the way Bill looks at it is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think he's looking at the SEC right now as something that certainly isn't broken, so it doesn't need to be fixed.
Well, for that argument, Phil, like college football isn't broken. There's still a love for college football, but could you say it's cracking a little bit based on stadium attendance and everything? So There's never this idea, and the SEC office and every other office in college football, they're constantly working and coming up with ideas to get better. But this idea that it's perfect, all going happy when it comes to SEC and the conference and their scheduling, it's just not the case. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's terrible and everyone hates it, because that's not true. I think Arkansas fans love playing LSU every other year. Now, a lot of Arkansas fans wish that game still was in Little Rock. There's arguments to be made on each little thing, but I think if you look at the scheduling, for the most part, people enjoy it. But to your point, there are some things that can get better, but that occurs with everything, I think, in college football as well.
You know, I've been covering Arkansas women's basketball and baseball now for 5 seasons. And look, I get that there are differences just based upon the number of games you play, but if I'm going to look at baseball, there are 10 weeks to an SEC baseball season. There are 8 weeks to an SEC football season. And in baseball, you play everybody in your division, and you play the other division. You play somebody in the other division 3 times. And the teams that you face out of the other division 1 year, you face the other 3 the next season. To me, that makes sense. I've been in every stadium, every baseball park in the SEC. I've been in every single basketball arena in the SEC. I feel like these are real leagues. You know, the divisions in baseball don't necessarily mean they're different leagues the way I said. And the other thing is you get conference tournaments, you know, at the end of the season, so you may end up playing a team that you didn't play in the regular season.
And you don't have it in basketball.
And in basketball, it's a different setup. And in football, you know, the conference tournament is a mano-a-mano in a championship game. So, again, I know it's apples and oranges, but a league, to me, is a league. Everybody should be playing each other a little bit more than they do.
I think what a lot of fans and the SEC higher-ups would be concerned about, Phil, is if you separated the divisions, if you cut them all ties with divisions, and you just did like the Big 12 currently has now, where it's just the best of the best, a dual or a double matchup, just like you had with Texas and Oklahoma going down to the wire in the regular season, the Cotton Bowl last year, and then they repeated and played in the SEC championship. I don't find a ton of fault in that. I like seeing the best 2 teams compete for the conference championship. We've gotten to see that with Georgia and Alabama, not necessarily Auburn and Georgia, but Georgia and Alabama, and I think that would be one of the things that would hold people back from completely doing away with divisions, because a lot of times I think more often than not you'd have a team go undefeated and the team with one loss, and I think that they would rematch in a lot of cases, just like you saw with Texas and Oklahoma last year, Phil.
How do you feel about this, listeners? 877-377-6963, Cherokee Casino hotline for a call or a text. David and Harrison texted in, says, sounds like we just made the argument for the way the Big 12 and the way they schedule football. And yes, but then again, I mean, that's a 10-team league, so they can do that. When you got 14 teams, you just don't have the math to do things the way necessarily that the Big 12 does exactly. But you definitely, I think, in this league have the capability. Hey, I'm all for more league games. Mm-hmm. I'll just put that out there. I'm all for a 9th game in the SEC. I don't necessarily think that would do something to knock an SEC team out of a chance at a national championship. I don't think it lessens the league. I think it makes it better. And I think it probably does more to get some butts in seats too. Going to. I mean, I think fans aren't that interested in watching you destroy an FCS team. I think they're interested in watching a matchup that gets grabs you by the eyeballs and says, "Hey, this is something you want to watch." And to me, an SEC versus SEC team, that's what I'd want to watch.
Bill, I'm thinking about what we're going to talk about with Bill in about an hour. So if you do anything to change the divisions, do away with it or anything like that, obviously you have to keep the SEC championship game because that's your moneymaker. And I believe Bob Bowlesby is the Big 12 commissioner. I think that's right. You can't do what he did a couple years back with the first college football playoff and refuse to declare a conference champion. That's what happened with Baylor. That's what happened with TCU. And that's why the Big 12 got screwed out of the playoff that year.
Brought to you by The Fence Man. If you own a business that needs more security or just needs more curb appeal, a new fence from The Fence Man can give you both. The Fence Man specializes in custom installations, and they've been doing it for over 40 years. Ask about gates. Ask about controlled access card readers. Call The Fence Man for a quick, no-obligations quote at 479-782-3936 and ask for Henry at The Fence Man, a division of Quantum Property Services. After the break, we're joined by the one and only Clay Henry from Hogs Illustrated and Whole Hog Sports. Stay tuned on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and B.F. Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and B.F. Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, B.F. Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
Do you hear that Coors Light being poured? It's the perfect temperature. How can I tell just based on the sound? I can't. But I can see that the mountain on the can is blue. And when the mountain is blue, your Coors Light is perfectly cold. Coors Light is cold lagered for a crisper taste, cold filtered for brightness and clarity, and cold packaged for peak refreshment. Doesn't that sound good? 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Hi, I'm Hector here from La Huertas. We like everything hot. La Huertas, we're fresh, authentic Mexican food served every day. La Huertas has 4 locations in the Fort Smith area with daily happy hours and a margarita night. Check it out. We're open 7 days a week with draft beer specials. Monday and Thursday night football. We are Fort Smith Authentic Mexican Restaurant. Yes, sir, we are. Fresh, homemade flour tortillas. La Huertas. At Rogers and Garrison location. Eat until you hurt. In Fort Smith, La Huertas.
We did it again. Evans Body Shop has been voted the best independent collision repair shop in the River Valley for the 2nd year in a row. None of it would have been possible without our top-notch crew and our customers, friends, and family that take their time to vote for us. We would like to say thank you. We are humbled by the continued loyalty and support from our community and staff and will continue to go above and beyond every day. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren. Come by today and see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
At Chambers Bank, our Arkansas roots grow deep, and you can trust us as your partner for every banking need. From a simple checking account to your first home loan, whatever you need, big or small, we are here for you. With 18 convenient branches throughout the state and a full suite of online banking options, we will always be available when you need us. Family owned in Arkansas since 1930, Chambers is your full-service community bank. Bank with trust at Chambers Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS 631520.
Mentor's Lumber True Value has the lowest prices on the items you use every day. Today, 4 packs of GE LED light bulbs are just $9.99 each. Choose from 5-watt or 8-watt soft white or daylight dimmable bulbs. They are all rated for 15,000 hours of life. Head over to the electrical department for these bargains of the month now, while supplies last. Mentor's Lumber True Value with locations in Alma, Ozark, and Clarksville.
Light bulbs burn out, so it's dark.
ESPN 95.3.
Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Ball's on the ground. Hobbs are going to scoop and score. They pick it up at the 5. Scooter Harris. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Here on ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Hoping to get Clay Henry on. I know Clay was traveling and might have a little trouble connecting with us. So if we get the chance to have Clay with us, we will definitely do so. Want to get into some updates from Arkansas football practice yesterday. We noticed in in Whole Hog Sports and also on Rivals, noticed that McTelvin Agim has a pretty heavy brace on his right knee. Scotty Bordelon reported it looked like it was bothering him getting around like that. He's never had that big of a brace on the knee before, so I know Chad Morris says it's a matter of he's moving around as best as he can. But when you got a heavy brace on that knee, what does that necessarily mean? So, Arkansas's top defensive lineman may be a little less mobile than he usually is, although he certainly is expected to play Saturday against the Kentucky Wildcats.
Sent me some decent stats this morning about their.
Well, now hold on about this. I'm using that stuff for change my mind later on.
Never mind then. I'm sorry.
Because I know, yesterday I got into the thought that I was feeling pretty good about Arkansas's chance to win against Kentucky, but after I looked up these numbers, I don't know. I might have changed my mind.
Change your own mind.
That's right. I'll save that till later on in the show during the second hour. But yeah, I found some things about what Kentucky did versus Florida, albeit in a loss, that make you scratch your head a little bit. Hey, by the way, 2 Arkansas offensive linemen remaining in concussion protocol. I saw that Chad Morris, who spoke to the SEC media today on the teleconference, quoted that he expects Ty Clary hopefully to be back ready for contact in practice today, but he was in a green jersey yesterday, which means he's in that concussion protocol, which is the same thing with Colton Jackson. And Coach Moore is saying that Clary is ahead of Jackson in the concussion protocol. So here it is Wednesday. There's just 2 days before they'll travel to Lexington, and your starting left tackle may not be in there, which opens it up again for Myron Cunningham. And that means with Clary not practicing fully the last couple of days, Shane Clennon has been getting the first team reps. Chase Hayden did return to practice after being in the concussion protocol for a couple of weeks. Jordan Jones was not at practice, although I think the coaches are expecting to get him back in the lineup this weekend because they're talking about the idea that the wide receiver position is full for the first time in a long time, if not really for the first time this season, because Jones has been out for the first 5 games. So might get him back on the field Saturday. All right, we got a phone call here. Our buddy it's not Clay Henry, but it's maybe a little better. Eddie in Clarksville has dialed in. Eddie, what do you think about this Kentucky game on Saturday? Are you heading up there with the bell?
Well, sir, I'm still debating on that.
Calling in. Coach Morris has a show tonight. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. He sure does. 7 o'clock here on ESPN Arkansas, the Chad Morris Show.
I have a question, sir. I'd like to ask Coach Morris, Coach Craddock, and Coach Traylor that needs to be answered. And this week's bye, I said last week, and I never did hear you and Ty's reaction to this question I asked. I was referring to my basset hounds. And they go to their plate box, and they drag out a different bone. And I'm asking, I looked at the line yesterday. The line on this game is 6.5 points. Now, it could go to 6. It might go to 7 for game time. I anticipate this game being a very close game. And I'm asking the coaching staff, there's going to be a moment in this game you've got to go to that play box and drag out a bone. And I hope you've got something in your arsenal, in your game plan. Even Coach Bielema had a play box he could go to. I remember that play against Sebastian Triona, where he took the snap, we stuck the tight end out in the flat, and a big tight end threw for a touchdown. And I'm asking this coaching staff, if you don't have something in your play box that you haven't shown yet, you will lose this game.
You make a good point there, Eddie. I mean, there's no chance to be vanilla right now, and if you got all your wide receivers ready to go, this is the time for being the opposite of vanilla and breaking out some of the fun stuff that makes this offense what it's supposed to be. Clay Henry has dialed in. Clay, appreciate you getting back with us. I know there's some problems connecting on the road sometimes. How you doing? How's the road trip?
I'm good. I'm enjoying a day off, and I'm glad to fit you guys in though. So
well, good. We got about 5 minutes. We got about 5 minutes left in the segment. Let me ask you a simple question here. It's been since 2012 since Arkansas last played the Kentucky Wildcats. I looked at it had been 9 years since Alabama and South Carolina met. You get some pretty ridiculous gaps between times that conference foes play each other. And I wonder, do you think that that's good for SEC football, or is there something that they can do to make it better?
Yeah, it's not. It's I don't like it. And the only real option that I see is to play 9 conference games instead of 8. And, of course, none of the coaches want to do that. CBS and ESPN keep pushing for that, and the argument that they make is what you just cited, that the only way to bring 14 teams together in a closer knit family is to play 9 games where the rotation is tighter. And now the only thing that I'll say about Arkansas and Kentucky is that when they do play, sometimes they play for a while. They might play for 7 overtimes or whatever. So some of these games have been classics, Phil. I mean, it's just, I'm going back and looking at this is I guess the celebration of Jared Lorenzen's life this Saturday at Lexington. The late Hefty Lefty, and going back and looking at that game that Matt Jones and Jared Lorenzen had, that was really spectacular. Finished at midnight or a minute or two afterwards. But yeah, back to your question, I don't like it, and it doesn't make any sense to be honest. If you're going to not know, I mean, it's like I don't even remember how to get in Commonwealth Stadium in Lexington. It's just where. They may have changed the name by now. There may be a sponsor's name on it now. I'm not sure.
I think it's Kroger Field. It's
Kroger Field. There you go.
Supermarket.
See, I had a feeling they'd done that since the last time we've been there. It's been eons ago. I mean, that was like before I had my Medicare card.
Which really wasn't all that long ago, I guess.
No, I'm just teasing. Yeah,
I know it. So I'm a little nervous. I'll get into this later on. We only got about a minute left if we can. But I saw Kentucky played really well against Florida for the most part. Offensively, they had some success that nobody else has had against Florida. I thought yesterday Arkansas's got a good shot against Kentucky. Now I'm not so sure. In 30 seconds, can you give me an idea of what you expect on Saturday?
Yeah, if they can protect Nick Starkel a little bit, I think Arkansas has a good chance to win. If they don't, then that's when the turnovers happen. In Arkansas, they've got to play turnover free, and the thing that helps Arkansas a little bit is that Kentucky is off center with their quarterback play. The injuries. They basically have 3 quarterbacks hurt. Whether they get one of them back this week or they play their wide receiver, which is a guy that can make plays with his feet and kind of scares you a little bit. I think Arkansas has a chance if they can protect just a little bit and keep that middle from collapsing. Ty Clary's got to play. That's the first key.
Well, and I think that might be a little bit up in the air. He's been in the concussion protocol, so is Colton Jackson. You're going to need both of them on the field.
Yep. You need Colton Jackson, protect that left side. If you're playing young players, their defensive front, their front seven is SEC caliber. That's where they've made the improvement, is their defensive line can give you problems. And so I think it falls right in the lap of the interior of the Arkansas offensive line.
All right, Clay, we'll let you go with that. Appreciate you calling us back in after the connection problems, man.
Sorry.
Always appreciate it. All right, this is Clay Henry from Hogs Illustrated, Whole Hog Sports.
Got his new book coming out. Prep Rally is going to come out in a couple weeks. So if you guys are big fans of high school football, this is the book to pre-order, Phil.
I think, and I know Clay, I met with him here in Little Rock like a couple of months ago when he was doing some research, visiting with people from Little Rock Central. He's gone all over the state for this book, so I think it'll be a great read, plus his great sense of humor will be on display. Ty's sense of humor will be on display after the break. We'll come back with more football talk. Can Arkansas rebuild like Baylor is rebuilding? Here on ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com.
The best midday show in the Natty State. You're listening to Halftime.
Full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time is important. Make the most out of that time with a brand new Branson tractor from Bush Machine & Tractor in Fort Smith. With tractors from 19 to 105 horsepower, we have a tractor that will fit your needs. Ask Bush Machine & Tractor about their special financing options and free loader rebates. Bush Machine & Tractor in Fort Smith is Arkansas's #1 Branson dealer. Check their inventory at bushtractor.com.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for all repairs. Paintless Dent Repair, door dings, unsightly dents, and hail damage repair, all repaired to like new conditions. With over 1 million repaired vehicles with satisfied customers, Michael Littleton is the expert in paintless repair. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair, conveniently located 3 miles from the Arcoma exit off Highway 112. Or call 479-461-9764. Your #1 Arkansas fan.
Right now, you can save up to $5,000 off on select in-ground pools at Burton Pools and Spas. Hi, Tommy Kraft here. Now is the perfect time to start planning your own backyard oasis for next summer, so you can relax and enjoy the lazy days poolside next year with family and friends. It's the perfect way to unwind after work or do a staycation. And don't make that long trip this next summer. Vacation in your own backyard. Burton Pools and Spas also has luxury spas, grills, and patio furniture that will complete your outdoor living space. So don't wait. Right now is the time. Save up to $5,000 on select in-ground pools, including saltwater models. It's all at Burton Pools and Spas. This special deal is first come, first served. Stop in their store in Fort Smith and in Springdale for all the details. Fall is the perfect time to start working on your in-ground pool with Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale, and online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free. to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741.
Arrow Bolt and Screw is Fort Smith's distributor of bolts, screws, fasteners, anchors, and much, much more. They have a wide variety, stainless steel inventory, and metric fasteners. This family-owned and operated business takes great pride in providing their valued clients with high-quality products at low, affordable prices. Arrow Bolt and Screw can be found at 5424 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith. That's Arrow Bolt and Screw. Call 646-0540. That's 646-0540. Arrow Bolt and Screw.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Hicks going to throw off play action, back shoulder, end zone, touchdown Arkansas! Mike Woods, 13 yards, and Arkansas grabs the lead.
Still never found out who was doing the clapping in the broadcast booth for that touchdown a couple of weeks ago.
You ask Curtis, or
I forgot to ask Todd, so maybe I should fire a text off his way. Got a tweet from our friend Woo Pig Charlie asking about how he likes the SEC doing football scheduling. He went the other way. He said he wants to see SEC lawnmower racing to be a real thing. Now, that would be an interesting get-out, SEC lawnmower racing. I don't know. I mean, would you pay to watch people race lawnmowers?
That's a good question. I mean, if it was more of the high-profile guys in football, basketball, and baseball for each SEC school, yes, I would. But if it's just some burly dude that I've never heard of from the Apaches, then probably not. Now, I think if there's some definite sports that, like college-centered sports, like I'd pay to watch certain players play bago or beer pong or something like that. I think that'd be entertaining. What's a sport, Phil, if you could watch any of the SEC teams compete in one singular sport, what would it be? That's not within the realms of typical NCAA stuff.
I mean, I'd like to see a home run derby.
That'd be fun.
You know, just kind of put them there, give them the gopher balls that Major League Baseball uses for the home run derby, and see just how far these kids can hit it with an aluminum bat. And let them use the old lightning bats, the ones that really sounded like a ping. It doesn't sound like that anymore.
Who would Arkansas's do that they'd be sending up this year? Who would they send?
Heston Kjerstad.
Kjerstad? Okay.
In a minute. It wouldn't be Casey Martin right now because reports yesterday said that Casey broke his hamate bone and had to have it removed on the left hand. So he can't swing a bat for at least a couple of months. The hamate bone's an injury that you can bounce back from, but I have seen it sap some power from hitters. So this was the same thing I think that Jared Gates dealt with a couple of years ago. So hopefully that's not anything that really hurts Casey during the season. But obviously he won't be playing during fall the rest of the way. All right, we promised a little bit of a look at a potential rebuild at Arkansas. And you're pointing to what Matt Rule is doing at Baylor as proof, I guess, not proof, but just showing that somebody can take a program that was at the bottom of the barrel. I think a lot of folks would say Baylor was probably in a worse situation than Arkansas was when Chad Morris took over. The fact that, Baylor really didn't have anything left after the decimation of the program for good reasons. But Matt Rule, to me, I mean, you can say, sure, Chad Morris took SMU from a winless season to a bowl, but look what Matt Rule did at Temple. I mean, Temple, for crying out loud, to win 10 games in back-to-back years. This is a football program that Bill Cosby made jokes about because he played there when they stunk and would lose to teams that were in lower levels. And he brought them to back-to-back 10 wins. So taking Baylor, that was 1-11 his first year, to a bowl game last season and now undefeated at 5-0 and ranked 22nd in the country. Ty, do you think that you're looking at a rebuild at Baylor, or you're wondering if it's possible at Arkansas?
Well, there are some differences, but there are some similarities as well. Obviously, Baylor's a private school. Arkansas is a public school. They also play in the Big 12, while Arkansas plays in the SEC. But if you look at the dynamics, especially in recruiting, Arkansas really wants to get in Texas. Now, Waco happens to be in Texas, so they have that advantage over over Arkansas and some of the other schools recruiting in Texas. But Phil, when you think about the premier schools, not only in the Big 12, but Texas itself, where does Baylor rank on that? Because if I'm doing the math,
pretty low on the pecking
relatively
order.
low. And so they have recruiting obstacles similar to Arkansas. Think about it. Texas, OU, Oklahoma State, A&M, obviously. You could even say TCU. Now, that's kind of back and forth. Maybe they're on the same level, but they are definitely not the premier blue blood inside that state. And Arkansas, yes, it's the blue blood inside the state of Arkansas, but it's definitely not in the ACC. So here's a guy, Phil, that comes over from Temple. 2 10-win seasons, just like you were talking about, at Temple, the Temple Owls. I think I've known them for having decent basketball teams in the NCAA tournament every once in a while, but not in football. He comes to Baylor. They go through their lumps like every other coach does, it seems like, outside of like Kirby Smart and even Saban lost to Monroe. They go 1-11, and then they go 7-6 last year. Probably should have won more games than they did last year, and now they're 5-0. So the idea of a rebuild, and you could even point to some of the stuff that Brett Bielema did at Arkansas. Now, I know people are about to drive off the road. Oh, Brett Bielema didn't rebuild Arkansas. To a certain point, he did. He just didn't get over that hump. I think this is a great example, Phil, of a guy that's inheriting a program, turned it around in 3 years in difficult circumstances. Now, to this point, you don't think Chad Morris is going to do it, but if you're going to look to someone who's probably been divvied out even worse circumstances than Arkansas has, I think Matt Rule at Baylor is a case example of that.
Well, I mean, Baylor's got some nice facilities. The stadium is top notch.
Mm-hmm.
Drayton McClain pretty much built it himself right there in the banks of the Brazos River. Waco, maybe not the most exciting place in the world.
It sucks. Let's just be honest. It's terrible. It's
you got some other cities that are close by that that you can get out to.
Yeah.
I'd put Fayetteville ahead of Waco as far as the niceties of a place to live, and you put the facilities there too, up there as well. And so I mean the pecking order of the Big 12, OU, Texas, and then everybody else. Maybe Oklahoma State gets thrown in there, TCU every once in a while, Texas Tech every once in a while. Bryles had Baylor to the point where they were challenging OU in Texas, but obviously it's Baylor historically too is just not a program that really has been a contender in their leagues. No matter what league they've been in, when you're even talking about the Southwest Conference or the Big 12 for all this time. That's why they revered Bryles as much as they did, because he took them to levels that they'd never been to before. You see the same thing with Matt Rule and Temple. And I don't know if I see that necessarily with Chad Morris and SMU. I mean, Rule was there in Temple for 4 seasons. He left before the Military Bowl in 2016 to take over from Jim Grobe at Baylor, but there was, there's I guess a little more success there at Temple than Morris had at SMU, and SMU try. I know they're ranked now for the first time since the death penalty, but yeah, Morris turned them around. I think he turned them around to a point where even Nicky said yesterday, he deserves a little bit of the credit for the fact that they're undefeated and are ranked for the first time since the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I look at the rebuild, what you would be rebuilding at Arkansas and Baylor, is the same thing, because it's different leagues, because it's a private school versus a public school. I think it's easier to get into Arkansas than it is at Baylor. So I think there are some similarities, and you make some good points. I think the differences, though, make it that they're different things. much different things. The thing about Bielema too, he said, he did kind of rebuild Arkansas, but once he didn't get over the hump. But once the hump you didn't get over the hump, you slid back on the back slope of that hump pretty drastically.
Yeah, no, 100%. I just think with Baylor, I think the reasoning I brought this up is because I obviously have the connection to my dad, who's an alum there, and I was just looking at it a little bit last night. The fact that I think it's arguable, and I think I would lean towards this argument: the fact that Baylor has more obstacles to rebuild itself than Arkansas did, based on all the allegations and the stuff that happened under Art Brilesville, and based on the fact that it's not a premier football school. You at least have some historical significance in Arkansas. Outside of Mike Singletary and RG3, can you name another former Baylor player that's prominent amongst college football? And I obviously know some because I grew up watching with my dad, but just as a college football fan, Phil, can you name any Baylor players that made their name in college football?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to go to the internets in order to do that.
And
I'll tell you what, you're going to learn a lot more about this Baylor team moving forward because as of now, the two teams that they've beaten that are decent are Kansas State and Iowa State, and neither of those teams is really great shakes. But on the schedule coming up, Oklahoma State, TCU, OU, Texas. We'll find out a lot more about Baylor in the coming weeks. Though it is worth saying a 6-game difference between Rhule's first year and his second year, and you're obviously not going to get a 6-game win difference from Chad Morris's first year to his second year.
And they definitely face the brunt of their schedule down the stretch, like Arkansas does outside of Western Kentucky. But I think what Arkansas fans should be so frustrated with is that you're 2-3 at this point when you should be probably 4-1. This is the easy part of your schedule. You screwed up, and now you have to go down the gauntlet the rest of the way. Again, ESPN's FBI has this as the toughest remaining schedule in college football, and you screwed up your chances early to win some of these games. And now it's just going to not get worse necessarily, but it's not going to get any easier.
Not getting any easier for Arkansas, no doubt. Not getting any easier for Baylor, no doubt as well. It will get a little bit easier for us as we'll get over the hump into the second hour on a Wednesday. I don't have a box score to crumple up, unfortunately, from last Saturday. So, I don't know, maybe I'll just rip a piece of paper out of the notebook and crumple that up as well. We'll come back here on halftime, so stick around on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
If you want a compact tractor that's the best value for your dollar, visit Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma and ask about the Workmaster Series compact tractors from Newhall. They are powered by reliable, clean-running engines and are backed by Boomer Guard 5, the best in-class 5-year limited warranty. Not only are they built tough, they are comfortable to operate and gives you a great view from the roomy, open platform. See a Newhall and Workmaster compact tractor today at Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma. They're the best value for your dollar.
In this moment, who has your back? Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your insurance agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you with who? Another state? Another country? Get a local independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when the bad stuff happens. In this moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Call Kohler & Green Insurance in Fort Smith, 484-9888, or in Van Buren, 474-9888, and online at kohlergreen.com.
Barley is the soul of Budweiser. That's why we've been working with the same family-owned American farms for more than 50 years to harvest it. The secrets to growing this grain perfectly have been passed down through 3 generations. For them, it's a legacy. And it's why only the best barley and locally sourced ingredients are used to make Budweiser. Budweiser is proudly raised across America. This Bud's from our barley farmers. This Bud's for you. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half price. And all beers on tap are half price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Our weather stays clear and quiet tonight. An overnight low will drop down upper 40s to near 50. Whole lot of sunshine Wednesday. Our high in the mid to upper 70s. Thursday, looking at sunny skies, a slight chance of a shower or storm north. Our high temperatures 80 to 85. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by OG&E Weatherization Program for Arkansas customers with homes at least 10 years old. Call 1-800-272-9741 for details or log on at OGE.com.
Good station.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Busch and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
You want answers.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, man, Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown. How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? How do you like it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Promise this 1 o'clock on a Wednesday during football season.
There it is.
That's the box score that we didn't have from last Saturday because Arkansas didn't have a game. So I can't crumple up the box score from Texas A&M because I already did that. So here we are. We are over the hump. We are sliding towards the weekend. 6:30 kick on Saturday. 1:30 airtime for Arkansas game day, leading up to the IMG pregame show, and a couple of teams that are looking for an elusive conference win. Arkansas at 2-3, but 0-2 in the SEC. Kentucky also at 2-3. All three of their losses have come against SEC teams.
Hey, can I read, before we get into this baseball stuff, can I read you something that Bob said today on the teleconference real quick?
Shoot.
All right, so we have Bob Hold on every Thursday. Bob is one of the best Arkansas media members, and he's just fabulous when he's speaking with coaches. So he's
the most inquisitive, that's for sure.
That is for sure. So he is with Dave Matter, or this is from Dave Matter, who covers Missouri for the St. Louis Dispatch. And he tweets out, Bob Holt let Barry Odom know today that he'll be at the SEC Hoops Media Day next Wednesday and won't be in the football teleconference. And Barry Odom replied, I'll write that down and make sure I can make it through the call. I love Bob, man. Bob's, and I told you this, Bob's one of the nicest guys. He's one of the first media members I met when I started doing this freshman or sophomore year of college, and he's been a good dude ever since. But it's stuff like it's fantastic.
He is a good dude. I love putting him on the spot with some questions sometimes. And it's odd, though, to be the one who's asking the questions of somebody who's known for asking questions. I can appreciate that Bob doesn't answer our questions with a question of his own. And that always annoys me a little bit. You know, when somebody always turns around a question with a question, a question's not an answer. It's another question. Give me an answer. I'm sure Justin Verlander is looking for answers after getting shelled yesterday. 3 runs in the first inning, gives up 4 runs less than 4 innings, and the Rays beat the Astros' secondary ace on 3 days rest 4-1. Tommy Pham, Willy Adames with home runs. The Rays had a beautiful relay cutting down Jose Altuve at the plate when the Astros are trying to find a way to mount a comeback. I tell you, and you're going to get now the next couple of days, Ty, it is Game 5 heaven. Cardinals and Braves, Washington and L.A. today. The winner stays and plays in the NLCS. The losers go home. And then tomorrow, I got to root for the Rays tomorrow, man, because it'd be one of the greatest upsets in baseball postseason history to see an Astros team that won, 109 games, potentially lose at home to a wild card team that pays their players, like pennies. So this is going to be a lot of fun these next couple of days. You get the 4 o'clock first pitch in Atlanta. John Flaherty for the Cardinals, Mike Fulton-Nevich for the Braves. And that series has been so awesome. So whatever happens the first few innings, just wait until you get to the 8th and 9th innings and potentially 10th and 11th, because the way that series has gone, it's going to come down to the very last pitch. Washington and the Dodgers in a matchup of Steven Strasburg and Walker Buehler. So there's great star power on the mound. Going to be great atmospheres in Atlanta and at Dodger Stadium. And then the ultimate Pirates fan sadness in tomorrow's ALDS closer, because the pitchers that have been announced by the Rays and the Astros both were teammates. Were they teammates in the minor leagues? No, they both came up with the Pirates. Tyler Glasnow for the Rays, he was part of the 3-for-1 trade that got the Pirates Chris Archer, and that trade has blown up in their faces because the Rays got their best hitter, Austin Meadows, in that trade, and Glasnow has just been outstanding with a 1.78 ERA when he's healthy. And then, I called Verlander the secondary ace for the Astros because the real ace is Garrett Cole, and he was an ace for the Pirates for less than a handful of years. So, that's one of the things about talking baseball here on this Showtime during the month of October. I know we're usually talking about other teams, but it always turns into a Pirates fan lament.
Yeah, you just get all sad and dreary because postseason means that your Pirates are not a part of it. And I don't mean to stick a fork in your stomach, but I'm telling you like it is. Like that'd be like SEC football fans talking about postseason come December, and Arkansas is not going to be a part of that conversation, but you're going to have to hear about it for the month of December and the month of January. That's a part of it. But, man, I'm sorry having to go through this based on what you've told me about the ownership and management. They just don't care about winning. They're just there to collect a paycheck.
They are, and it's okay. I mean, right now, hey, you should be congratulating me. Three of the division series went 5 games. That's all I'm rooting for right now, which means I'm rooting for the championship series to go 7 and the World Series to go 7 and the 7th game of the World Series to go extra innings, just to stretch this baseball season out as long as it possibly can. So, all right, a connection between the Pirates and Arkansas is former Razorback Jeff King, who's the first and only top overall draft pick in Arkansas history. I believe that's for any sport. Jeff King was the first overall pick in the 1986 draft, and that came after he had played 3 years at Arkansas, and he was the Pirates' top overall pick, the number 1 pick in the 1986 draft, and it took him a couple of years to get to the major leagues. He was with the Pirates from 89 through 96. I remember 96 because I was interning for the Pirates that year and had a chance to meet Jeff King. He has been he's going to be inducted into the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame in Fort Worth at the TCU campus November 18th. So I'm going to make a guarantee here. Jeff King is going to be inducted into the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame in absence. Because if there was one person that I can think of, Ty, that was as uncomfortable in a major league uniform just because of the spotlight that goes with it, it's Jeff King. A guy who's from Indiana that now lives in Montana. He's a hermit, essentially. He does not come out into public. I'm going to guarantee he won't be there. It's a funny story about Jeff King. Now the Pirates traded him after the 96 season to Kansas City. Had his best year. We had a good year with Kansas City, and his manager Tony Muser said that King one day complained about hearing the national anthem. And Muser, who was a former Marine, was shocked. He asked him, "What do you mean?" And then King said, "Every time they play this song, I have a bad day." This was somebody who was paid to play baseball and had the talent. I mean, he had talent. He probably should have been better than he was. But he hated being a Major League Baseball player, literally hated it to the point where he retired, Ty, 1999, one day after he qualified for the full Major League pension. That's the day he quit. He just figured, well, I'm set now. I don't need to do this stupid baseball thing that I hate anymore. I'm going up to Montana, and I'm never coming out of my house.
So how does the pension, and I know we're coming up on a break here, but how does the pension work for NFL, NBA, and MLB athletes?
Man, I'm not exactly sure if I could explain, but I know that, you have to have a certain amount of service time, days spent in that, on a major league roster or an NFL roster, a certain amount of days that you have to accumulate before the pension fully vests. I think you get a percentage of the full pension up until you reach that threshold. So, and you hear a lot of major league coaches, a lot of players, that have trouble sticking there in the big leagues. That one of the things they are trying to do is get it to where that pension fully vests. So that's what Jeff King was doing. And I'm going to guarantee on a day where some people want to celebrate his career, he's going to have absolutely nothing to do with it. And oh, by the way, he was my favorite Pirate for like 4 years. And he didn't have the personality to be it, but he was very humble, and I appreciated the way he played. All right, we'll come back after the break, and we're going to be talking about some basketball with head coach, well, not with Eric Musselman. We're going to talk about how Muss might have some pressure to get a great in-state class of Arkansas basketball players. Ty's been talking about this group of kids for a while. Maybe some of them show up on the Hill. Stick around. Halftime on a Wednesday here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter @PhilElsonPSP. This is the Morning Rush.
It's just amazing that when Eric Musselman is in front of the media or in front of the fans, and now we got to see what he's like, see him in that coach's role, to see how vocal he was, to see how detail-oriented he seemed to be with just the small things, like, for instance, calling a timeout because his team wasn't lined up correctly on the free throw line. I mean, that's the type of thing that you like to see if you're a Razorback basketball fan.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Now is the best time of year to get more for your money on a new Mahindra. Enjoy 0% interest or save thousands of dollars on a rugged Mahindra tractor. That's more for less on many of Mahindra's best-selling models, with tractors that deliver more lift capacity, fuel efficiency, and built-in weight. So pay 0% interest or save thousands on the world's #1 selling farm tractor. Only at Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma.
Now is the time to book your fundraising and corporate golf outings for 2019 at Eagle Crest Golf Course. Call Eagle Crest now before all the best dates are gone. 479-632-8857. Eagle Crest Golf Course, voted best of the best golf course 2 years in a row. Let their staff take care of everything, from help with your tournament as well as food and beverage service. If you're looking for a place to host your corporate or charity event this year, call Eagle Crest Golf Course. 479-632-8857.
Every day, vegetables are ripped from the earth, sliced, diced, even something called julienne. But for just $5 a day, you can help. Get 2 Hardee's Original Roast Beef Sandwiches for just $5. Slow-cooked beef, hand-dipped in rich au jus, each prepared without harming a single vegetable. So come to Hardee's, get 2 Original Roast Beef Sandwiches, and save the veggies. Hardee's, because it tastes better. Available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
Right now, I'm holding a perfectly ice-cold Coors Light. You know how I know it's the perfect temperature? Because the mountain on the can is blue. And also, it's really cold. Every Coors Light is cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged. Notice how many times I said cold? 3 times. It's that cold. So make sure the mountain on your can of Coors Light is blue, because that means it's ready to enjoy. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Archery season is underway, and black powder season is just days away. Angelco Outdoors has all your black powder rifles and supplies to get you ready for your hunt. Brands like CVA, Traditions at Thompson Center. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, your premier locally owned sporting goods store in the River Valley for all your fall hunting gear. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors. And remember, a great hunt begins at Jelco Outdoors.
I bet you're ready to finish that warm weather renovation. Whether you are a do-it-yourself remodeler or a full-time contractor, the paint store in Van Buren is friendly and special orders are no bother. Sue and Vicki, with over 30 years of experience, welcomes all your painting questions and will help you feel confident in your choices of colors from Richards Paint. The paint store is at 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren. Come see them or check them out on Facebook today.
Hey dads, do you have an athlete in your house that is looking to take their skills to the next level? Excel Speed Training at the Fort Smith Athletic Club has the proven results to maximize your athlete's potential. Designed for both male and female athletes of all ages and various sports to improve mobility, endurance, agility, and vertical jump. Take your game to the next level with Excel Speed Training. Call Mike Johnson at 479-926-0193. That's Mike at 479-926-0193 at the Fort Smith Athletic Club.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Whaley, he gets the call, fighting for the goal line. Touchdown, Arkansas! Devois Whaley goes the final yard as the Hogs mark 64 yards in 10 plays to take the lead.
Halftime is brought to you by Breeden RV in Van Buren. Great camping weather is right here, right now. They're having their year-end clearance sale also right now. Great deals on new RVs, travel trailers starting at $99.95, and fifth wheels that start under $30,000. Breeden RV is also the only dealer that gives new customers maintenance for life for free. Breeden RV has a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now's the time to camp. Breeden RV can show you just how easy it can be. That's Breeden RV in Van Buren at BreedenRVs.com. Ty, you got a countdown for me on first tip-off Arkansas basketball? How many days do we have left?
Should be 27, Phil. 27
Less than a month.
Yeah, I know. November 5th, again, Rice. They'll take on Rice that day. They obviously have the expedition that's going to take place, not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. That's when Nolan Richardson's name is going to be honored on the court, so looking forward to that. But their first official game, non-expedition, is going to be at Rice not at Rice, against Rice, November 5th.
It's also less than a month until my first game with the women's basketball team and Mike Neighbors in his third year. That's November the 8th, Screaming Kids Day against New Orleans. So, yes.
Your favorite day of the year, Phil.
Full countdown for Screamin' Kids Day. Get the earplugs ready to go.
I remember when I was doing Vanderbilt women's basketball in Nashville for Charlie Matos. I don't know if you met him yet. Really nice guy. If you run across paths, if you guys play him this year, you need to introduce yourself. He's a good dude. But I just remember him texting me as like, you're not gonna be ready for what this experience is. And I'm just like, it's just a bunch of kids. And when I turn the cue on for the broadcast, I just hear a sonic type boom of kids screaming. And I can only imagine, Phil, it's one thing to be back in studio listening to that crap. It's another thing to be in person, having to also concentrate on your job while trying to do that as well.
And then there's the whole idea of school kids smacking down cotton candy and Sprites and Cokes at 10 in the morning. We used to do that at Travelers games. We'd have 2 or 3 Screaming Kids days with sometimes 10,000 of them would come from across central Arkansas. And I'll tell you, one of the other things you had to deal with when I was walking down from the press box at Old Ray Winder Field, I'm not kidding you. You had to dodge the pink vomit circles of too much cotton candy in the heat and running around, and those were crazy days. They only do it once though, and it's I think it's a thing that a lot of women's basketball programs do to start the year with a morning game, and sometimes it turns out to be their highest attended game. I have a feeling that the attendance for the women's basketball team this year, with I think expectations that they have going in and the talent that's there, I don't think Screaming Kids Day will be the highest attended game. All right, so let me give you this quote that Nikki Chavanel got from Rivals national analyst Eric Bosey talking basketball. Says, I've been covering recruiting for 20 years now. The class of 2020 Arkansas has as deep a class as I can remember from the state. He says there's no Malik Monk, Bobby Portis, Ronnie Brewer type game changer in the class, but the separation between Moses Moody and Devontae Davis isn't that great. And he goes on to say they check a lot of boxes for what you're looking for in today's college game. Ty, you've been beating this drum for a while now, that the 2020 high school class of Arkansas basketball might be the best you've seen in a long, long time. And it just so happens you get somebody who appears to be a pretty darn good recruiter now at Arkansas in Eric Musselman.
Well, they've never had this type of talent all at once in the state. Yes, there have been better players, whether you think it's Bobby Portis, Malik Monk, Daniel Gafford. There's been better players if you want to just rank case-by-case basis. But when you want to go class-by-class basis, this class is better than for quite some time. I don't know if there's another class that stacks up to it. I'd leave that up to Nikki, Danny, Richard, Dudley, whoever else. But, I mean, there's some dudes in this class. And I know, again, we've stressed on this. KK's playing out at Oak Hill. Moses is playing down at Monteverdi. So they're technically not in Arkansas, but they're from here. And, Phil, this comparison is a little out there, but people are calling this class the Fab Five, like Michigan Fab Five, because it's Arkansas. I mean, when you think about Jimmy Keene, Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, and I always forget the other two dudes, but it's not to that level, but the talent that you could pick up if all these five would recruit, or commit and eventually sign with Arkansas, it'd be awesome. And little tidbit on Moses Moody, a 4-star shooting guard, 6'5", just committed to Florida today. So I would think that helps Arkansas just the slightest bit when it comes to stacking up against Florida, but Mike White was able to get Kerry Blackshear in there, so he obviously knows what he's doing when it comes to recruiting. But, man, that'd be something. Of all these kids, it seems like Moses is the consensus best out of all of them. He's the only one that I've actually gotten to see play live. I plan on watching Jalen a little bit since he does play here in Fort Smith, and it's easy for me to drive over to the north side. But, man, there's some talent, Phil, and I think it's going to be interesting how Musselman plays it this upcoming year.
It's pretty difficult to get all of them, but if you get a couple of those kids, and I mean, this is one thing I know that Mike Anderson tried to talk about, building a fence around the state, not letting the best players out. And that obviously didn't really, go the way that I think Mike expected it to, because a lot of the best players in the state ended up going somewhere else. You did get some from the state of Arkansas that were good and were great in some cases. Guys like, Bobby and Daniel Gafford. But on the other hand, there were a lot of other players that didn't stick around. Mm-hmm. And you wonder why that's the case. Also saw an interesting article on ESPN written by Jeff Goodman profiling Mike Anderson now, as he's taking over at St. John's, and that he's been into building the relationships with high school coaches in the New York area, making himself almost a mainstay in high school gyms all across New York. So, he's talking about building a fence as well. I think in New York. So, I don't think it worked for him at Arkansas. New York is a smaller place than Arkansas is as a whole. So maybe he gives the fence man a call and gets a few more of them to stick around.
Nice. Yeah, I thought the funniest part of that article, I'm trying to pull it up real quick, that he talked about it might be 25 minutes of hell and 15 minutes of I don't know what or something like that.
of what the hell are we doing?
Yeah,
is
what the hell
said.
are we doing? So I thought that was funny. But, yeah, and I'm curious to see how he does up there. Again, no real connections. He did hire 2 assistant coaches with attachments in the area. They've been, I think, working some of the ranks around the New York area, which is good, especially if you don't know the New York landscape basketball-wise at all. But I think that's going to be a story we don't necessarily pay a ton of attention to during basketball season, but if he does good or if there's some interesting stuff that comes out of Mike Anderson at St. John's, I think we'll mention it a little bit.
The title of the story is Why St. John's Believes in Mike Anderson, Even If You Might Not. And I guess I'd mentioned Jeff Goodman. It was written by Jeff Borzello, who works at ESPN. Goodman is a college basketball analyst at Watch Stadium. And I don't think he's a big fan of Mike Anderson.
There's something there. We talked about this, man. There is something there. He said that he thought he would succeed at Arkansas, but every single blip that he's talked about Mike Anderson. Most of the time, Phil, it hasn't been positive. I wonder if Nick could text Mike Anderson Jr. and if we could get some info on if there's something there, because those two don't seem to be cordial whatsoever.
No, yeah, I think Ruskin asked, what happened here between them, and Borzello was pointing out that it didn't have anything to do with Goodman, but he also had tagged Goodman on the story that he tweeted out. So I think Borzello knows for sure that there's something between all of them. As far as it goes with Eric Musselman, I don't know. We haven't found anybody who's got a problem with him just yet. You asked the question: is there a lot of pressure for Muss to get the in-state kids? And I would imagine that the pressure's on. He's putting that pressure on himself to not just to get these possibly in-state kids, but to get. I mean, he's looked nationally and looked in the state as well. There's like a balance you've got to be able to work with. I think as a coach at Arkansas, where it seems a lot of the fan base expects that you're going to have Arkansans on the team, and that a lot of times they'll be your best player. I mean, you see that now with Isaiah Joe. You've seen it with Bobby and with Gafford and with others throughout the years. It doesn't necessarily have to be the case, and if you get the sense, Kyrie Walker is a kid that Muss is recruiting pretty heavily, and I mean he's not even just from Arkansas; he's from nowhere near Arkansas. So I mean he's opened up. To me, it seems like he's opened up the geographic footprint of where Arkansas can and will recruit, while at the same time focusing a lot on the in-state kids.
When you look at it like this, Arkansas has 5 4-star, 5 guys inside the Rivals top 150 in this 2020 class. Phil, that's more than the football state as a whole had in the state. That's way more. I think there's only like 1 or 2 4-star kids for 2020 inside the state of Arkansas for football. So that shows you the discrepancy between football and basketball inside the state, that there is more basketball talent, more 4-stars inside this state right now. You were talking about how he's kind of not just honed in on Arkansas kids. 35 seniors have been offered by Muss, 15-plus states, 2 countries. I mean, this guy's going all over. But we talked about his ties to Reno and the fact that when he was at Nevada, there was no talent around him or he could drive through, so he had to do transfers and kind of be unorthodox as a head coach in recruiting. Now that he has the in-state talent in this first true recruiting cycle, how does he go about that? It's a wait-and-see game from here.
All right, we'll find out. Oh, by the way, speaking of Arkansas basketball, has Connor Vanover gotten his
we need a question
waiver yet?
Something.
Yeah, it seems to be the question of the day, right? Has Connor Vanover been allowed to suit up for this next season? That'll be the big question for basketball before the first game of the year. All right, we're going to switch over to football with the king of college football talk, Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio. That's next on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
A show that lives up to the hype. You're listening to Halftime.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and BF Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
Do you love crab legs? Then get to the Catfish Kitchen in Van Buren every Tuesday and Saturday night for all-you-can-eat crab legs. Eat all the meaty, delicious crab legs you can hold, plus all the fixin', coleslaw, beans, and the best hush puppies. Plus your drink, dessert, and ice cream are all included. It's only $44.95. That's all-you-can-eat crab legs every Tuesday and Saturday night from 4 till 8 at the Catfish Kitchen, 727 Fayetteville Road at the top of Logtown Hill, across from the police station in Van Buren.
It's football season, and the right play is at Hertz Car Sales, 2810 Midland Boulevard. Their business is quality used cars at a great price, with their #1 goal of passing the savings on to you. The latest makes and models, low mileage vehicles with an overall experience that can't be matched. Make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard today and find that there's no better way to buy your next vehicle. Call them today at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromhertz.com. Hertz Car Sales. What are you waiting for?
Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for all repairs. Paintless Dent Repair, door dings, unsightly dents, and hail damage repair, all repaired to like new conditions. With over 1 million repaired vehicles with satisfied customers, Michael Littleton is the expert in paintless repair. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair, conveniently located 3 miles from the Arcoma exit off Highway 112. Or call 479-461-9764. Your #1 Arkansas fan.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm Lisa Hinton, owner of Champ Hinton Enterprises. For nearly 50 years, the Champ Hinton name has stood for one thing: selling quality cars in a different way. Taking the mumbo-jumbo out of the process and making customers happy. All these years and tens of thousands of cars later, we're still here, doing business the way Champ Hinton taught us. Selling to generations of families who've become part of our family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, the area's premier used car dealer. Take the Arcoma exit off I-540 or go online at champhinton.com.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Starkle on first down, straight ahead, Boyd, lots of room, to the 40, to the 30, it's a foot race, and Boyd's going to the house! Raheem Boyd, 59 yards, touchdown Arkansas!
All guests join us on the Cherokee Casino hotline. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio right now. Bill, I've been educating our friend Ty Richardson about some music and movies and stuff like that were around when I was a kid. I mean, this song here, I introduced him to CCR a couple of weeks ago, and he just put it on our rejoins. He said it's a perfect rejoin for when you come on the air. Is Born on the Bayou one of your rejoins?
No, it's the imaging at the top of the hour. Actually, it's bigger than that. We've had two historically. The one that I used at Sirius XM was the ZZ Top Nationwide. We're bad, we're nationwide.
Yeah.
And loved that. And then this is the other classic of ours that we use at our top of the hour imaging. So, yeah, at the top of each hour, when I come back, that's what you hear.
I remember blowing Ty's mind when I introduced him to a Pretender song about My City Was Gone, and I said, he said, I think I've heard this before. I said, yes, you probably listen to Rush Limbaugh. So educating Ty Richardson is part of my job here at ESPN Arkansas. I guess it was the same for you at Nashville Sports Radio too, right?
You know what? I don't say a lot of, when you have a new guy come along like Ty, I don't say a lot to him about the business. I just let him watch, and Ty picked it up quick, man. He was good.
He sure did. He sure did. I'm going to get into a topic that Ty and I started here at the start of the show, because Arkansas is playing Kentucky on Saturday, and it's the first matchup between these conference teams since 2012. Alabama went 9 years between games against South Carolina. Georgia and Texas A&M, they still haven't played as SEC members. They do later on this year. LSU, 5 years since they played Georgia, 6 years between games with LSU and Tennessee. Sometimes this league doesn't feel like a league, and I wonder how you fall into the spectrum of the idea of I know you and I have talked about not adding a ninth game, but what about shaking up the divisions, or just not having divisions, and getting these teams to play each other more often so that this conference really feels like a league?
Well, there's another one that we've been talking about for a long time, and that's Georgia and Alabama don't play a lot regular season, hardly ever. Yeah, I tell you, the problem, though, is politically, the SEC, you've got so many various politics going on. I'm talking about playing politics, right? And you would never get the league to agree to that, changing. Like, for example, I've been saying Tennessee would be way better off not playing Alabama as the permanent one-game team that you get. You got one team there, and they get Alabama. And I've always claimed, why don't we get away from that so we can loosen up the schedule a little bit? And I have Tennessee fans call me and say, "Oh, Bill, we love it." You're not winning that game. You've won that game once since Mike Shula, basically. So, yeah, there's a lot of inequity there, but you'll never get anything done as far as change.
Oh, Dan Mullen was talking about it, and the way it feels to me is it's almost like and I understand, football's got fewer games, so you have to make do with what you have. But the SEC in football feels like Major League Baseball, where you have two different leagues. The SEC West and SEC East are two different leagues. You get a natural rival, you get a rotating opponent out of the other division, and essentially the champions of the two leagues meet in the SEC championship game. And this feels like Major League Baseball setup to me.
Yeah, and it's mainly unequal because the East has been down. And you got to remember at the beginning of expansion, which was 1992, Arkansas, South Carolina, the East was the better division. And it was Tennessee and Florida. Once we got past 92, Alabama won the championship that year. Once you got past that, though, the Tennessee-Florida game had division, league, and national championship implications. There for a stretch. Every game was that important. And when Spurrier left, of course, he went to Ron Zook, and then they got back to Urban Meyer and started winning again, and then after that, they started losing again. And then Tennessee hasn't been right since, well, they haven't been to the SEC title game just to play in it since 2007, and they haven't won it since 1998, so we're going on 20-plus years. That's the biggest problem is Tennessee and Florida, not so much, but Tennessee being down.
Talking with Bill Keene, Nashville Sports Radio on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Bill, one of the things that has stood out to me is Urban Meyer on the noon kickoff show. And I know you and I talked a little bit before the season that we didn't think he was going to be that good at it. But I will say, though, so far, and I think Rob Stone's done a really good job of setting it up, he's actually looked pretty good. Have you gotten a chance to watch him yet? And do you think they're going to make a dent at all when it comes to matching up against College Game Day the rest of the way?
He has been very good. I concur with that. He's been outstanding. His ability to describe plays or situations or theories is excellent. And you can remember, there's a whole lot of credibility when it's Urban Meyer talking. I just didn't know if he would be that talkative, he would communicate, look that energized doing it, because he's not a big media guy, but he looks like he's genuinely having fun at it. No, I think the show is actually better than I thought it would be, but to dent Game Day, I've seen some of the data, and apparently it hasn't done much. Now, Fox apparently has bumped up a little bit in their numbers, but as far as denting Game Day, which I don't really watch Game Day. I don't need all the fluff. It's a waste of my time, but that's an institution, and they'll never come close to bumping that.
So the reason I bring up Urban Meyer is because he was at the Little Rock Touchdown Club on Monday. And I know we were talking before you came on, you haven't watched the full interview with David Basil, but one thing I know that you can discuss when it concerns Urban is him just talking with media members and how he approaches his players. So David asked him about discipline, and Urban went on this diatribe about how initially at Florida he kicked off a player, and I don't mean to make light of suicide here, but a couple months later he transferred and then committed suicide. And he said because of that he would never kick a player off the team unless they just kept going against his core concepts. Bill, as a guy that's gotten to know Urban over the years, covered him for so long, got to know him at Big Ten Media Days, SEC Media Days, do you truly believe that the reason he's been so light on punishment over the years is because he cares over everything about the well-being of his players when it comes to really, I think, winning football games?
I'm not saying that he doesn't care about the well-being of his players, but there is something that supersedes that, and that's winning. Urban Meyer, and it's easy to just sit here and say, this guy over here, this guy over there, they want to win. No, there's different levels of that want. There's different levels of that need. And Urban Meyer's soul burns that way. He is every minute and every thought when he's the coach is about winning. And I would say more so than maybe anybody. That's part of the stress level and his health issues, is he cannot calm down inside. Externally, he doesn't always look like he's angry. He's really not a hothead-looking guy, but inside, he burns very hot. And they'll want to win, going up to Connecticut and getting Aaron Hernandez, for example. Stories like that. Countless numbers of bad guys on those Florida teams that were really, really good. It was about winning. And that superseded everything else. So no, I don't believe that's the sole number one reason. It might have a little bit to do with it, but I don't believe.
I think Urban Meyer tells people what they want to hear. And a prime example is what else he said at the Touchdown Club here in Little Rock the other day, is that Basil put him on the spot, says, what's a program like Arkansas supposed to do? And he said, they're a 10-win team to me. It's Arkansas, he said. Come on. He's saying that because I don't even think he's dialed into the SEC anymore. He's saying that Arkansas's got to play against South Carolina and Gainesville. He said Gainesville instead of Florida. They never play those teams. I just think he's got a habit of telling people what they want to hear.
You're dead on. Urban Meyer does not have a historical reference to the SEC. Other than he was there rather briefly and kicked total tail while he was there, give him the credit. He doesn't know Arkansas football. He doesn't know Mississippi State, doesn't know Tennessee. He doesn't know those teams. He certainly doesn't know them. Now, this is a guy who was on the Lou Holtz staff as the wide receiver coach. Wasn't even a coordinator. Bowling Green came after him, and he didn't even want to take it. Lou told him, take it. You don't have any other opportunities. Take it, and you better win, which he did. Then he got the Utah job, Florida, et cetera. But, no, yes, that's definitely pandering to your local constituency when you're sitting up there at that podium. Arkansas is not anywhere near a 10-win team.
Yeah,
they're closer to a 5-win team than they're a 10-win team.
Right now, that's for sure. Yeah, Meyer was a pandering panda. I appreciate you, Bill, as always. Thanks for coming on with us. Have a great rest of your week.
All right.
Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio joining us every Wednesday. All right, we are coming close to the end of the show here on Pizza and Beer Day. You're going to ask Clay Henry if pizza and beer go together, Time. And that's like asking if chicken wings and beer go together.
I don't like
These are
pizza
two
and beer
foods
together.
made for each other.
I don't like them together, dude.
You are so weird sometimes. I just don't get you. I don't get you. And we got a little Change My Mind coming up after the break. I guess I'm changing Ty's mind about pizza and beer here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Good coaches win. Great coaches cover. You're listening to Halftime.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half-price. And all beers on tap are half-price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Made in the USA Furniture.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Made in the USA Speed Queen Washer and Dryers.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
In-store, no credit check financing.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
0 down and 0 interest with approved credit.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Family owned and no high-pressure sales staff.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Find us on Facebook and Instagram. 405 Fort Street, Barling, Arkansas. Your Made in the USA headquarters.
Best seats in the house.
Supercuts of Arkansas is raising breast cancer awareness and donating to Bright Pink. Bright Pink is the only nonprofit organization that focuses on prevention and early detection of breast and ovarian cancer. Join the fight, breast cancer awareness. Donating to Bright Pink, the only nonprofit organization. Supercuts help them reach their goal of $10,000. Supercuts is conveniently located and serving its community 7 days a week. Supercuts, they're super into the movement. Supercuts, fresh, clean, sharp.
Have you been thinking about new windows or vinyl siding for your home? Then think Superior Siding and Windows. Superior Siding and Windows has been offering low-maintenance, energy-efficient products in the River Valley for over 40 years. Superior Siding and Windows also specializes in sunrooms, patio covers for carports, and much more. Call 646-7888 for a free in-home estimate. Superior Siding and Windows, 646-7888. Superior Siding and Windows. Look for us in the Yellow Pages and like us on Facebook.
We did it again. Evans Body Shop has been voted the best independent collision repair shop in the River Valley for the second year in a row. None of it would have been possible without our top-notch crew and our customers, friends, and family that take their time to vote for us. We would like to say thank you. We are humbled by the continued loyalty and support from our community and staff and will continue to go above and beyond every day. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren. Come by today and see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
At Chambers Bank, our Arkansas roots grow deep, and you can trust us as your partner for every banking need. From a simple checking account to your first home loan, whatever you need, big or small, we are here for you. With 18 convenient branches throughout the state and a full suite of online banking options, we will always be available when you need us. Family owned in Arkansas since 1930, Chambers is your full-service community bank. Bank with trust at Chambers Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS 631520.
Arrow Bolt and Screw is Fort Smith's distributor of bolts, screws, fasteners, anchors, and much, much more. They have a wide variety, stainless steel inventory, and metric fasteners. This family-owned and operated business takes great pride in providing their valued clients with high-quality products at low, affordable prices. Arrow Bolt and Screw can be found at 5424 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith. That's Arrow Bolt and Screw. Call 646-0540. That's 646-0540. Arrow Bolt and Screw.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Play fake, gonna throw a fade, left side, knocks at the goal line, complete, touchdown Arkansas! Trey Knox, 24 yards, and just like that, the Hogs are in the end zone.
Closing down shop here with a Wednesday halftime segment. Before we get into it, though, a reminder of what we got coming up tomorrow for halftime homework. Since I had Ty watch The Naked Gun last week and introduced him to comic actor Leslie Nielsen, who was not a comic actor until the movie that I've assigned him for this week came out, which is Airplane. And I have forgotten, Ty, what you have assigned me. So I just reminded you. What do you got for me?
It's Friday Night Lights. I couldn't remember
That's
what
right.
it was.
First episode, right?
Yeah, pilot. So it's on NBC.com. It should be, I don't remember if it's on Amazon Prime or not, but you should be able to find it for free. Don't pay for it. If not, I'll just text me and I'll let you know on the other one. So.
All right, things to pay attention to tonight. Of course, you've got the Major League playoffs, the fifth and deciding games for both of the National League series. Later on ESPN Arkansas, 7 o'clock on the air with Chad Morris, and that will feature junior wide receiver Tyson Morris and sophomore defensive back Jarquez McClellion. And there is some MACtion. Well, it's not MACtion, it's Sunbelt action for you. You got your midweek football now, Ty, so you can get your football fix. I'm sure that the MAC Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays will be arriving sometime soon. And ESPN2 featuring App State and Louisiana. Pretty good Sunbelt matchup. Teams combined for 8 wins, 1 loss. So what are you picking to watch? Yeah, I'm watching the baseball playoffs. You know that. Are you going to watch the Mountaineers and the Ragin' Cajuns?
Probably just, I'm going to be honest, dude. We got a meeting at 2:30, then I need to go work out, and then I'll probably just settle in nice and early, watch Airplane, and then hit the hay. I need to watch some of the baseball playoffs. But I told you, I think I'll crack open the can once they start the championship series.
All right. Well, you might as well hit the change my mind thing, because now I've got 2 things to change your mind about.
I changed my mind.
Hi, Joey.
Hey, how you doing?
He won't sell anybody out to buy his future.
How can you be so obtuse? What did you call me? Obtuse? Is it deliberate?
Son, you're forgetting yourself. Change my mind.
How in the world can you think pizza and beer don't go together? How can you justify yourself?
I'd rather have
with
a
this?
Dr. Pepper. I like beer. I don't really like beer. I don't love beer, but I like pizza. I love pizza. And people are texting me now that's like a great combination. But if I had a choice, I'm getting a Coke or Dr. Pepper or even a Sprite for that matter and drinking that with my pizza. But
look, and I get it. You need something bubbly and crisp to break up the complex flavors of the pizza that's on your tongue. But there really is nothing. And look, I don't want a beer that's too heavy with pizza or that's got too much going on. I like a crisp beer, maybe a light, maybe something that's just not very heavy. Pizza and beer go together like wings and sauce, pitchers and catchers. Come on, this is a perfect duo.
Well, I mean, typically a lot of times when you're ordering pizza, it's later and you typically are consuming alcohol, and so it just happens to go together. But if I'm at a restaurant and I'm really going to go all out, like typically I'm a water guy. I don't drink during the week, and when I do drink, it's on the weekends. And then I really don't drink sodas anymore. I kind of stopped after sophomore year of college because I was starting to pack on the pounds a little bit. But I typically don't either drink beer and pizza or that unless it's just like on a weekend or something, and it happens to be there. A lot of times the pizza just happens to be there and I'm drinking beer and just I do it. But if I have my choice, like if I like for my birthday in a couple months and we'll go eat pizza somewhere, I'll get a Dr. Pepper and a large pizza or something. I'm not getting a beer and a pizza.
Well, guess what, buddy? You don't have a choice today because it's Pizza and Beer Day according to the hashtag holiday you attached to our show today. So there you go.
And I get roasted when I go out with my friends for brunch on Sunday. I don't really drink on Sundays either because obviously we have to work next day. When my schedule changes, that rule might change a little bit because I'll be waking up a little later. But, I want to set the tone for the week, having to wake up at 4:30. I do not want a single drop of alcohol in my system on Sunday, and I'll get like a milkshake or something at brunch, and my friends will just look at me and just shake their head. That's just a part of it. But I have my standards that I have. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't drink alcohol, but I don't do it during the week, and I really don't do it on Sundays most of the time. And that kind of separates, and there's not a lot of days that you can, outside of Friday and Saturday, that you get that. Basically, Phil.
Rick in Murphy, Texas is with you. He texts in saying he drinks beer and he loves pizza, but he thinks they ruin the flavor of each other. You're just drinking the wrong beer.
My man.
You're just drinking the wrong beer. Craig in Greenwood thinks you should get a scarlet letter from Core Brewing. I'm right there with you. All right, so my next changed my mind because you have to do the beer pizza thing later tonight just because of the hashtag holiday. Report back tomorrow. See what you think. My change my mind is that I think I might have changed my mind on Arkansas's chances Saturday against Kentucky. I thought, the idea that Kentucky's got this issue at quarterback where they're really not even sure who they're going to play. They're going to line up that Lynn Bowden, the wide receiver, into the Wildcat at times. He can throw, I know, because he was a quarterback in high school. Much different, between high school and SEC, but I think he's going to be able to throw. Sawyer Smith is the starting quarterback potentially, and he's dealing with 3 different injuries. But I've got some things here that just worry me because right now the Florida Gators are playing really good football, and Kentucky should have beaten them. Got some stats from that game that just made me wonder a little bit about this and Arkansas's chances. So Kentucky gained 407 yards against Florida. That's the most yardage against Florida in a game this year by 106. Miami gained 301 the opening game, and Kentucky, of all teams, gained 407 against them. Plus, the Gators, one of the great sack teams in the country this year, is 26 total sacks. They got 1 against the Wildcats. Plus, UK set a season high in points scored against Florida with 21. The Gators have the 5th best scoring defense in the nation, averaging 9.5 points allowed. Kentucky scored 21 against them. UK rushed for 140 yards. They ran 76 plays. Both of those are season highs against Florida's defense. Florida hasn't allowed more than 66 offensive snaps from an opponent other than Kentucky. Some of these things, Ty, are giving me some nerves about the thought of Arkansas winning in Kroger Field. Admittedly, the Wildcats have stunk the last couple of games out, but road losses to South Carolina and Mississippi State are much different than bringing in a team that hasn't won an SEC game in almost 2 years into Lexington, where it looks to me like Kentucky is just a better home team. So these stats here might have changed my mind. I don't know if they changed yours.
I think the stats you mentioned with Arkansas, the defensive line, yes, there's some young talent, but it's more passing talent than anything. Again, these are guys that are just getting onto campus, whether you're looking at Soley, Clay, Gregory, some of these other dudes, they're not frail, but frail by college football, and particularly SEC football standards. So what is it easier to do on frail defensive linemen that are quicker? Run on them. And freshmen don't always make the best decisions when it comes to their gap integrity, the play overall, where they're supposed to go, and so that makes it that much easier. So I would think, along with your line of thinking, it's going to be not necessarily the easiest thing for Kentucky to do, but definitely easier. The one thing I'll say, though, if Arkansas just stacks the box and Sawyer Smith is really just not feeling it, and then Lynn Bowden, who's not exactly the best passing quarterback, if they stack the box and Kentucky can't throw on them, that's advantage Arkansas. But again, we'll see what happens when it comes to rushing the football, because Arkansas's got a task in front of them, because Kentucky does have some good offensive linemen, Phil. And your boy, was it Cavassier Smoke?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool.
He was barely used against South Carolina, by the way. He only got 6 carries. That's a surprise. Actually, just 2 carries. I thought he had more than that.
So there's a great clip, and I think this kind of ties into our show a little bit, that Ellen had yesterday, Ellen DeGeneres, on what affiliate is she on? Is she on not ABC, CBS? I don't know.
It's a syndicated show. I don't know.
Some syndicated show. But this is what she said about when she was sitting with George W. Bush, who were patently different at the Cowboys game on Sunday.
During the game, they showed a shot of George and me laughing together, and people were upset. They thought, why is a gay Hollywood liberal sitting next to a conservative Republican president? Didn't even notice I'm holding the brand new iPhone 11. And but a lot of people were mad, and they did what people do when they're mad. They tweet, and but here's one tweet that I loved. This person says, Ellen and George Bush together makes me have faith in America again. And here's the thing. I'm friends with George Bush. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of people who don't share the same beliefs that I have. We're all different, and I think that we've forgotten that that's okay, that we're all different. But just because I don't agree with someone on everything doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with them. When I say be kind to one another, I don't mean only the people that think the same way that you do. I mean be kind to everyone.
Phil, she nailed it on the head. And I think if you're in our relationship, we disagree politically, we disagree religiously, and we disagree a lot of times in sports. But we still have a vast amount of respect to another. I wake up every day, enjoy doing the show with you, and we respect each other a lot. And I think just because you have a difference with someone in any line of thinking, anything you talk about, whatever it may be, that doesn't mean you have to hate them or anything, hang out. I thought she nailed it on the head. Her and George W. Bush could not be more different, and yet they have a friendship. And that's what I had to close out the show today. Groupthink's bad when people think that you have to be a certain way in life, and that's kind of changed my mind to close out the show today, Phil.
And then the difference is that both Ellen and George are at least respectful towards other people's opinions. That's the difference in today's world. A lot of people just don't respect that other people do have opinions. I will say, some opinions are flat out wrong, so just got to be respectful about how you disagree about those things. All right, we'll close up shop with that. Be with you tomorrow. For Ty, I'm Phil. Get out, get up, get better.